I know Tony Khan's Twitter antics really aren't that great. In fact, it's starting to bother a lot of people. But today, there is something that Tony Khan is doing that definitely makes the upcoming episode of AEW Dynamite feel special, and I want to weigh in with my opinions. With that being said, there's a couple other stories happening in the world of wrestling, and we're going to talk about it all in today's video. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. My name is Zango, and I'm going to bring you guys my analysis on the latest stories happening in wrestling 7 days a week. So I hope to see you guys around more often. Now, with that being said, I want to kick things off talking about WWE's Stadium event. This is a story that we have been talking about for a while because there have been tons of different rumors surrounding it. And while WWE didn't necessarily confirm what the pay-per-view will be, WWE did in fact confirm that it is going to be taking place Labor Day weekend. And on top of that, they did confirm it's going to be at the Principality Stadium in Wales. Now, this is obviously a big deal for WWE returning to the UK with a stadium pay-per-view because, one, WWE wants to have their global presence known, and what way to do that other than by having a fully packed stadium? I fully anticipate this event to be fully packed. Now, I also want to point out that Labor Day weekend, that same weekend, AEW will have all-out pay-per-views. So if you're a wrestling fan, this is going to be really exciting. I love it when my weekends are packed with wrestling, and I imagine everybody who is watching this video also loves that too. I do want to point out, though, it is very important that WWE includes NXT UK to some degree within this pay-per-view because, let's just face it, despite the fact that NXT UK has a lot of great action on a weekly basis, WWE really hasn't done anything with NXT UK. So I hope WWE can get some of those stars on the main card, or at least do some sort of event with NXT perhaps that weekend as well. I don't know if WWE can pull that off, but it would be very interesting, and I would love to see what happens next. Just before we can get to the AEW news, I just wanted to let you know very quickly that I do have a Discord server, and I would love for you to join. If you want to join hundreds of wrestling fans and talk about wrestling, sports, health, and fitness, consider checking out the link in the description down below. It is completely free, and if you're a member on this channel, you even get VIP access. Just something to consider if you want to talk wrestling with other fans. Now it is time to get to the good stuff. So if you're unaware, AEW originally scheduled a Dynamite for New Orleans like 2 years ago. Well, obviously due to the pandemic and everything like that, it just basically was not possible. So finally, AEW is coming to New Orleans, and it looks like Tony Khan has a very stacked show. Well, what's really cool is that AEW has actually announced that Marina Shafir will be making her TV debut against Sky Blue. This is obviously great news if you're a Marina Shafir fan, well, because she's finally getting TV time. Now, I'm assuming that AEW is doing this to obviously build her up appropriately as she goes to become one of the biggest challenges for Jade Cargill. And in terms of storytelling, I think this is actually being done very, very well. I'm really behind the idea of Jade Cargill going undefeated, but I'm also really for the idea of new stars emerging. So if you think about it, this is a great opportunity for AEW to not only introduce Marina Shafir to the TV audience, but also another great avenue for them to introduce Sky Blue. Sky Blue is another independent talent who more than likely will become All Elite at some point, but it's very clear that Tony Khan is using her in a great role. And believe it or not, I think this match is going to go down very quickly, and I think now this is when AEW starts to really build a storyline between her and Jade Cargill. So this is something to definitely watch out for, and I actually give a lot of credit to AEW for making this happen, but this entire show looks completely stacked, and I'm glad that AEW is really starting to treat these shows that they're appearing in the city for the first time. You know, I'm glad that they're treating it like a big deal. It gets me even more excited for when they come to Detroit in just a couple months. But yeah, Marina Shafir will be making her AEW TV debut, and whether or not AEW announces that she's All Elite, I really don't know, but I feel like it is very easy to assume that could very well be the case. I just hope whatever happens after Jade Cargill ends up leading to something big for this women's division. I'm not saying it's the best, and I'm not saying it's the worst. It's definitely progressing, and it's definitely getting better, but there's more work that needs to be done. When you make key signings like this, I think that's the best way to do it. Marina Shafir was not the biggest name in NXT, and she was not the biggest name in the indies, but we've seen some great matches with her in GCW Bloodsport, Josh Barnett, and then of course, now we have seen what she's done on AEW Dark. What is next for her? That's where Dynamite's going to be really interesting, and I think it's going to be fascinating to see. So ultimately, I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited that AEW is really making a big deal out of this particular show. I hope the hype definitely plays out well. And speaking of the show in New Orleans, now we got to get to our final story of the day. Tony Khan. Oh my goodness. I understand that a lot of people are upset with him on Twitter, but truth be told, there is one thing that Tony Khan does so extremely well, and that is promote his shows. Now, I'm not going to say he delivers every single time, but what I will say is that he has been doing a great job of producing TV, and now because of this specific tweet, I'm even more excited for Dynamite this week. So today, Tony Khan tweeted, "Thanks to our great fans, great ratings, plus a great card of matches set for Wednesday Night Dynamite. On TBS Network granted us a overrun for AEW Dynamite tomorrow. It may just be a few minutes, but whatever happens, there's a chance we'll run past 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central tomorrow on Dynamite." Now, you might be wondering, why is this even worthy of a video? Well, there's two reasons. Overruns are not very common in AEW, so that's the first thing to keep in mind. Obviously, there is a reason why they might have an overrun, whether it's a surprise, whether it's an announcement, whether it's a debut, whether something big goes down. I really can't tell you what to expect. Nobody even knows which match is going to be the main event, which makes this even more interesting. But there's a second reason why I want to talk about this. We have been talking about the merger between Warner Brothers and, of course, Discovery. Now, we don't know exactly how this is going to impact AEW, if it even impacts AEW whatsoever, but I want to pay very close attention to this in the next several months because the leadership of Discovery could very well be making some changes to AEW in the long term. Now, I don't expect any drastic changes just yet, but it sounds like AEW being given this opportunity to have an overrun is a step in the right direction. Now that things are under the control of Discovery, it's going to be very telling to see how they view AEW and whether or not there's going to be any changes on AEW's programming. For example, pizza cutters seems to be the big discussion here. Now, I think AEW is special because of the fact that they do have a lot more, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what makes them special. The blood, the guts, everything that Vince McMahon hates about pro wrestling, Tony Khan is delivering that on Wednesday nights. And honestly, that is something that is appealing for that younger audience. Now, it may not be the most appealing thing to the casual audience, and I think AEW does at some point have to find a good balance for both, but this could be a step in the right direction for Discovery's relationship with Tony Khan and AEW. I don't know exactly what we have to expect going forward, but little things like this can end up being very big in the grand scheme of things. So yes, an overrun is absolutely a good thing because it not only shows that the relationship is still very well good, but also it tells me that AEW could be planning another surprise. I mean, why else would he tease anything happening in the final minutes of the show? So something big must be going down in some capacity. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do look forward to seeing what AEW will deliver here. And again, Tony Khan always hyping up his shows. I think it's a good thing, but at the same time too, you got to be cautious. You don't want him to get too happy on Twitter only to underdeliver. So I hope whatever happens here ends up being positive. But altogether, when Tony Khan tweets something like this, it is something that people are paying attention to, which is definitely a good thing. I want to know what you guys think, so don't forget to drop a comment down below. And as always, feel free to join in the conversation on our Discord server. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.